Would you prefer... Let's take my shirt.
Cheese? Are you drinking out of the tops of people's heads? Who are they?
That's my family. There's a lot about me you don't know. Put all that away and just say, because it feels like what I should be doing. It feels like what I want to be doing. If that is the guide, which is, I've never in my whole life really allowed myself for that to be the guide. What do you want to be doing right now? Trusting that mechanism to lead me towards healthy choices, toward fulfilling choices. I've always kind of required proof that what I want is also good and right, instead of saying what I want is, by definition, good and right. I have noticed, though, is that I look forward to working, I look forward to studying, I look forward to collaborating, I even look forward to failing. Because I truly believe that now I can see where you have to put a machine to the test to see where it breaks, rebuild it better, so that when the time comes for it to perform and do its designed purpose, it will function.
I think I would enjoy acting in it, but I think because we are who we are and we have written it and we have put so much into it, that it would be a Herculean task to get to the same place mentally and emotionally that we are with it.
For another director?
Yes.
I mean, we're going to try, right? We're going to try to find a home for it, for you to direct it, for it to be staged somewhere in an institutionalized theater. The resources of institutionalized theater are unassailable. Mm-hmm. Thousands of subscribers, lights, right. Stage,
stuff,
staff,
people, stuff, and people.
Chelsea invited me to attend a meet and greet here at Olney Theater Center for the first rehearsal of Miss You Like Hell, the musical that they're staging next. And so I'm in the room with
60 people?
60 theater professionals in a room.
With a
couple of super theater supporters from the community, but by and large, that room was full of designers, the artisans, the crew, the writers, the actors, the directors, the
people on the production and office sides of theater, scenic elements,
And I was just standing there in awe, like all of these very capable people are giving full effort toward the realization of a play. In this case, a musical, but a play that a playwright wrote. And I was thinking, how in the world do you get from here to there?
Yeah.
Question mark. Yeah. But I'm happy to try.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, there is harm in trying, but hopefully we'll navigate it.
Well, I keep thinking about my drawings that I did on the back of the paper flat that the guy who played Cosmo, Jacob Scott Tischler, an amazing actor, he played Cosmo in Singing in the Rain that we just closed. And there's this paper flat that he jumps through at the end of Make 'Em Laugh. And at some point I decided to start, because I'm props, so I was in charge of getting it ready for every show, and I started drawing designs and pictures on the backside so that Jacob had something to aim at. But I started getting more and more creative about what I was doing. It started with an X, and then it was a star, and then it was a million other things, which I now started showing pictures of. But I was creating something that would be destroyed within an hour of creating it. And, you know, why? What was the point of that? Because it no longer exists. I mean, there are pieces, and there are pieces, I'm sure, still in some of the trash cans around the theater, but to create for creation's sake and creativity's sake, I don't think is a bad thing. And I think it's important to not hold things too precious and be afraid of when they get broken, you know, like you were saying about being excited about failure, or, you know, I ended up being excited about how it ripped. It was never the same. What I wasn't ready for was that everybody really liked it, and the actors started coming up and the crew started coming in like, what are you drawing today? And I was like, I don't know, come back in 15 minutes and I'll have something on here. But I didn't expect other people to get invested in something that I thought was just kind of for me. And you have to find little moments of little moments of joy in something that could, if you let it become anonymous. And yeah, but then everybody was really excited, and they would talk to me about it and have opinions about what it meant, or why I drew it, or who it was, if I drew a person, or where they were going, or what was happening in the drawing, or why, or just that they liked how I did something, or the little character, or something like that. And so it was just, you know, simplistic, pure creation.
And I, of course, found that in the book of poetry,
Mm-hmm.
which began as a project with absolutely no intention of public regard. I wrote it, I can't even say I wrote it courageously, because I didn't think there was any risk of anyone seeing it and judging
Right.
it. If I had, I probably never would have written 80% of what went into that book.
Right, it would have hamstrung you.
Yeah. And then I'm having people ask 2 years later for public performance of pieces that I didn't even think I'd put in the public, and now they're saying, like, can you perform this in front of 20 people at the nursing home, right? And I'm thinking,
Yeah.
how did this happen?
Or at an open mic, or at,
Yeah.
you know,
And
variety show.
yeah, so
You went to New York. You went
New
all
York,
around,
yeah, I mean,
all around local Maryland, Delaware, Virginia.
I was paid.
Yeah,
Remember,
I know.
some of these things were, I mean, they
That's
paid me to
crazy.
come perform these poems
Yeah.
that I couldn't even believe I had written on
And
a piece of
allowed
paper
other
in
people to
private.
see.
Yeah. I'm definitely trying to keep that lesson in mind with this play, which is, in my experience, if I write toward a target saying, here's what they're going to want,
Mm,
those projects for me have not succeeded.
right.
The projects that have succeeded for me are the ones where I write with a complete and sincere belief that it will never see the light of day. The problem is that now that that has happened, in the back of my mind, I'm
Right.
thinking, but that's exactly what's going to have this see the light of day, so I better account for that. So I'm trying very hard to, like,
Mm-hmm. It's a tightrope.
yeah, it is, and a lot of it is a mental approach, and just, I am being successful, though, actually, in accepting that the chances of this seeing a stage are extremely low.
Mm-hmm.
That's not me setting expectations unrealistically low. I think that is accurate. So, because we set out for this particular project, keeping in mind that blank page to stage does not mean we're taking this play to the stage,
Right.
right?
It just means learning about how to make that happen.
Yeah. So we're learning how to work together.
Mm-hmm.
We're learning how to build a story, which is the fundamental skill, I would think,
Mm-hmm.
to actually write a story and not just write 100 pages of pretty words, but
Right.
actually tell a constructed story
Mm-hmm.
in an artistic and beautiful way. And whether or not that story is staged, by and large, doesn't matter to me, because the goal was to write a story, which I realize now I hadn't ever done before. I have written pretty passages,
Mm-hmm.
acting exercises, beautiful dialogue, poems, but an actual story, beginning, middle, end, character, desire, conflict,
Right. Trajectory and
all those things, I have not done, and we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And we can feel the power of it as we're doing it.
And once we've learned how to do that, we can recreate that process with a different story, different characters, different space.
Right. And if we keep going and don't lose heart and don't lose energy, then someday, somewhere, which was the goal, we don't know where, someday, somewhere, we will put a play on a stage.
You can do
Say
it.
and action.
And action.
My name is Jeff Dean, and I'm a playwright.
Good job. See?
Why don't you introduce yourself now?
Okay. I'm gonna set this down.
Can I hold that mug?
No. Is my hair okay?
Does my hair look okay?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't even look at it.